It's been almost 10 years since Dead by Daylight came out, and in all of this time, there have been thousands and thousands of tournaments. We have made so many videos about some of the best ones in this time, and today we're going to talk about possibly the best one yet. But the thing that you need to understand about DBD tournaments is that they typically come in two shapes, and two shapes only. They're super sweaty, super high-level comp-style tournaments, like the ones hosted by the DBD League. These ones have the best players in the community playing against each other with a bunch of rules to keep things fair. But honestly, these matches are played so efficiently by both sides that sometimes it all feels like a repeat of itself. You see the same killers, the same maps, the same builds. It sometimes really doesn't entertain you as much as you feel it should. And on the other hand, we have the very casual tournaments where mostly content creators play against each other. These tournaments are a little bit more unpredictable. You have people that maybe don't play a lot of killer playing killer for the first time and trying goofy things. They're not bad, they're entertaining, but there's also not any prize money. There's really nothing at stake, nothing to get invested in. And as a viewer, the experience sometimes is not the most entertaining. There's also a lot of waiting time between matches and other issues that plague all the tournaments because, well, DBD is DBD. You might also have spectating bugs and other things that just make the viewing experience worse. But finally, we have a tournament that breaks the mold. A tournament that takes the best things from competitive and the best things from casual and mixes it into something really, really fun. And the best part is that waiting between the matches was actually so entertaining. We had DJs actually playing music. We had really funny skits, and the audience was genuinely invested in every single minute. The premise of this tournament is absolutely brilliant. Mish, the main organizer of this tournament, made it so that all of the participants were anonymous. You were watching people play, but you didn't know who was who. And the audience would vote on who was playing the best, basing that only on their gameplay. I was a guest in this tournament. I got to play killer a few matches, and nobody knew who I was, unless they guessed from my gameplay. And I had to really, really play well and make myself look good. It wasn't about the amount of kills. It wasn't about the amount of hooks. It wasn't about the amount of anything. I had to provide a good, entertaining match. And I did my absolute best to do that. And honestly, I think the matches that I played were really, really entertaining. Today, I'm going to share them with you. I'm going to tell you my thought process behind them. You could even use the build in your own games if you find it fun. And we're also going to see some of the reactions from the commentators to the things that I did and the crazy survivors that I went against. Let's get into it. In my first killer match, I decided to play as the Unknown. And one of the maps that I could choose for this character was Cold Tower 2. A perfect playground for my plans. My whole strategy would revolve around a very unusual add-on, the Discarded Milk Carton. This add-on makes your projectile bouncier. And if you check my add-on guide and tier list, you will see that I do not generally recommend this add-on. In fact, I would go as far as to say that this add-on is worse than nothing for beginners. You will often find that your projectiles are bouncing too much and they are too hard to control. But if you take the time to specialize in using this add-on and playing around its downsides, you can actually tap into some unique strengths that allow the Unknown to pull off shots that would normally be impossible. You can make your projectile bounce off walls at speeds that survivors are not really used to. Your maximum range is also increased, allowing you to hit very distant folks. And more importantly, since we already know which map we're going to, we can find nasty lineups that result in shots that survivors would never in a million years expect. I practiced a bunch of these, and to tie this build together, we brought the perk Monitor and Abuse. This would make my terror radius so small that some survivors could be hit by a projectile without even knowing that I'm anywhere near. We also paired it with a brown add-on that sometimes removed my terror radius just to keep things a little bit spicy and keep them guessing. And the rest of the build would be very simple. We would bring several perks that reveal survivors, especially around generators, so that we would know where to aim and how to snipe them from a distance. Let's see how this build worked out. Okay, starting things off, I noticed that I am right next to the main building on a very, very, very long line of sight. It's this little path to my left. I'm going to avoid it and immediately walk a little bit towards the edge of the map. The idea is that, especially with Monitor and Abuse, my terror radius should be very small and maybe I can creep up to one of the survivors and shoot at them when they're on a gen. I go for an attempt here that I'm not too sure would have been successful even if someone was on the gen, but it didn't seem like anyone was by the time I did that shot. We now are aware of the survivors' location positioned, at least 3 of them. And here I'm going to do a little flick on the Laurie right around the corner. And luckily that was successful. With this killer, however, you need to be very careful. These survivors are going to be looking to show off, and they're going to constantly be altruistic, try to help each other. If I get 4 people weakened, but they all stare at me, unless I pull off a miracle, it's all the effort's going to be for nothing here. Here, I had a really beautiful shot waiting for Quentin, but honestly, he did a great job spacing it out. I got a massive stun. We see that his aura is shown to us briefly. I didn't realize this at the time, but this was object of obsession. AKA, anytime that I see his aura, he's going to see mine. This seems like an amazing teleport that could be a really quick down if the Quentin walked into me. He did successfully avoid this. Again, be very unpredictable pathing from him. There's what some people call the God Rock filler. Here I'm going to put a clone to make sure that this is easily taken care of. But here we see again object of obsession in play. He knew exactly where I was, so he made distance. And here I had to guess a little bit where he would go. We see another survivor, the Laurie from before. She's gonna dodge right. Obviously, anytime a survivor is hugging a left wall, then they're gonna go right. And if it's the opposite, then the other way around. Here, a teleport that could have honestly been a little bit premature. Unfortunately, the explosive there did not hit the corner properly and it did not explode. Either that or Quentin spaced it out. But the unfortunate thing about spacing yourself out against this killer is that sometimes you take the hit anyway. This is something that we'll see later. So far, my practice has not paid off. We haven't really taken any of the survivors into the spots that I've practiced shots against. But that is the nature of a tournament. You need to be ready for it. We go out of our way to put this character in a white hook. This lets me know which gen is most progress. We miss an unfortunate shot here, but that is okay. And I want to leave a clone by this window and this pallet. It's quite important. Here, I am being hit by a little bit of analysis paralysis. I try to go for a really beautiful shot, but this only would have worked if the Feng Min would have committed, and I think she was more or less testing the grounds. I have a bit of analysis paralysis because I have so many survivors around me that I don't know which one to chase. And here it didn't seem like I had any viable way to get this girl infected. I am looking, however, to snipe the Laurie that was still weakened from the start of the match. And a teleport to Laurie here was tempting, but here is a really good situation for me because look, she is in a complete bottleneck. She could not dodge either way, so this was obviously going to be really good for me. Unfortunately, they did take care of my clone. I see an opportunity here with Gearhead to hit someone, but I don't quite land the shot. The spectators in the tournament were really excited about that possibility, but they didn't quite land it. Here, unfortunately, we have a TL wall that is not going to be played by itself because we have this beautiful pallet filler here. Making that bounce there makes it immediately explode, but unfortunately my power wasn't ready, and this made it honestly pretty amazing. I wanted to do something fun here, but at the end of the day, if they run in a circle in the open, especially with this add-on, it is extremely easy to have the bouncers play against you. So we're gonna put her in another white hook. This will trigger floods and also compass. Jagged compass lets me know that this chain is the most progress, which gives me an idea of what I'm looking at. And here we are taking full advantage of monitor and abuse to sneak up on these 2 survivors that end both of them getting the hit. But unfortunately, they were not weakened before, so they don't take any damage. We briefly see Quentin there have object of obsession. I missed my shot on the window. It didn't really look like a bad shot, but I think Laurie wasn't close enough. That could have been really good. Luckily for me, though, she corners herself in this pallet. Cold Tower has 4 possible pallets that can spawn, and they work either in A or B. There's 2 or the other 2, and this one's really easy to deal with. Here, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pick up, and there's nothing too fun I can do. I kind of wanted to see if they would unhook in front of me, and I did something funny.
Uh-oh, unknown being a little scary. Ooh, we getting some naughty.
Yeah, get her, yeah. Still gets the hook, unless.
Yeah, I think he does, unless we... Wait. Is it enough? It's not enough. Oh my god. Oh my god. They needed one more.
Alright, that little prank there could have costed me a hook, and it could have been pretty bad. We see the floods of rage come in. Everyone's in here. I know a shot here that I can do if I catch them off guard. And unfortunately, inexplicably, the bounce just goes into the wrong direction. But that's what happens when you have uneven surfaces. I have to switch to someone else. It's a good thing that we're putting clones here. I know how to deal a little bit with this structure. Unfortunately, that direct hit slowed her down but did not explode next to her. We're back to this girl, even though I'm not 100% happy. I am a little bit to the left, anticipating that she would dodge, even though she didn't really do it much. I wanted to bait her here into the building, but this Laurie is about to pop off.
Dead. Good job. Good job. Good job. Trying to avoid getting hit by that bubble, but it's so scary. It's so scary. Good job. Good dodge, dude. And gets the ball. Resilience. Let's go. Okay, we have a pallet. We have a pallet. Laurie's juicing. She's juicing.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Why am I nervous? Wait.
Oh,
He
they were
teleported.
dispelling it.
Oh my god. This is gonna be tricky. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a tricky one to dodge, I think.
At this point, by the way, you didn't see it from the commentator's point of view. I teleported to the mech who was dispelling the clone, and that immediately puts her into weakened state. But I decided to commit to the Laurie since I wanted to finish the chase. She had done really, really amazing. You're gonna notice, by the way, that when you hook, there's an attempt to flashbang, you get the information on the most progress gen. But if the most progress gen changes, like right now, when a gen pop, you actually see it switch live. So this perk actually gives you a bit more information than you think. Here, I couldn't believe that I had the option to go for a shot, and I took it. That put Laurie back into danger mode, and here I wanted to do something really special. And it was so close to working, unfortunately. Oh, it didn't quite work. We still have this random from before, and this would have been a miss, I'm 99% sure. So I decided not to go for it, and the hook just got in my way. This should have been a clean shot. But the hook's hitbox is a little bit generous. I have no idea why this Feng was trying to steal my wallet, but all I knew is that I wasn't gonna let her. I tried to do something funny, lost track of her a little bit. Got her with a really nice shot when she hooked the corner. And here she would have died regardless of what she did if she went for the TL. I think here she was maybe planning to run back on me if I used my power, but she didn't. I was a little scared that there would be some kind of pallet or flashy save, but I was pretty confident as well that there would be no one here. So far, we've been distributing hooks pretty evenly, but yeah, this might have not been the best idea. It might have generally been better to catch them a little bit off guard. Oh, we have another survivor that was disrupting a clone. I decided to go away from her. Unfortunately, right here... Oh, that was so good. Now, you need to realize that because she was oblivious thanks to my add-on, she was looking behind her, but she had no idea how close I was. And here, I tried to do a shot that I had practiced. It didn't work, but somehow, I guess dodging put Quentin out of the spot enough. I'm gonna be honest, right now, Quentin there didn't go down to that shot, unfortunately. Right now, here, I should be looking to kill Laurie. Obviously, everyone in the team is trying real hard. Oh my god, that was a crazy little dump tech from Meg. Everyone in the team was trying really hard to save her, and I should have picked her up. But I felt a little bad. I wanted everyone to be in the game for a bit longer, which maybe I shouldn't have done. Maybe I should have limited their amount of plays, especially Laurie, a player that obviously was doing really well, right? And maybe I should have just killed her. Here, I try to take advantage of the fact that that survivor wasn't going to see me briefly, but he held his distances really well. Everyone here was very aware of how to play against Unknown. I tried to go for a fun shot here, and unfortunately, I got branched. But in retrospect, now that I see everyone's hardest, it wouldn't have worked in the first place. These are some shots that I practice here and there that I think are fun. Laurie here sees me coming a mile away. That's just sloppy aim, a bit of nerves. And honestly, keep in mind, this killer, even when played perfectly, has a degree of failure. Here, I purposely did not M1 this girl because I wanted to do a really fun shot that I had practiced. But she did something so unusual. I think nerves here might have been going both ways. Basically, the idea is to bounce it off the building, and then it would land more or less where you would expect the survivors to run away from you. But yeah, here we see once again that the gen that has the most progress is this one, and I'm going to try to go for a shot on it. It is a little difficult, however, based on the number of walls. And as you can see, one survivor was going towards it, but I don't think they were quite there yet. Unfortunately, I don't think I landed a single nice shot out of the ones that I practiced on the gens. But we will see. We actually pulled off some other things in a minute. Right now, however, we need to chase this Meg in Shack, which is a little bit tricky at times. And here, I overcomplicated myself. I used my power when I maybe shouldn't have to. We do get the weekend, but I cannot follow that up with a basic attack. The cooldown is just too big. And here, even though Quentin shows up for the help, she understands fully that my projectile will go through him. and dodges out of the way of the pallet. Brilliant play from her. Wasn't expecting it. I do get the hit on Quentin, and I try to go for him, but I do miss this follow-up attack. I've now lost a little bit of my momentum. No one is weakened. I need to do something. Luckily for me, Quentin here leaves this loop, which I honestly think is hard, to go into this corner of the shack, which is much easier for me to hit. I'm respecting the pallet here. I don't want to get stunned. I'm going to try a little mind game. I see some scratch marks over here, and I decide to check if this Meg was on her own, but she was not. And keep in mind, he is not hugging anything to Quentin because he sees my aura with Optical Obsession, and that is fine. Luckily, the Feng, who is on the generator, she doesn't know about my gearhead, and I get her with this nasty shot that now puts her in weaken. And if I follow up with a couple downs, this could be huge. Honestly, big mistake from Laurie. I don't know if it was ping there. Maybe she thought she was safe. I get a nasty hit on Quentin, who is injured. I could have committed to this down a little bit more. I decided to go back, and Feng out of nowhere comes with a flashbang, but misses. Thank God. I decided not to pick up the mech this time. I am going to correct the mistakes that I made earlier, and I'm going to kill Laurie right now. Enough second chances, right? In this little time, they're probably going to have time to pick up. I could have maybe gone for a shot there, but I wasn't too sure if it would bounce too much off the pallet. In the end, I take basically nothing. They all are weakened, but they'll probably be able to shrug it off. Here, they hug the generator and then stop hugging it to bait me into a shot. Excellent job from them. And luckily, we're going to see Quentin fake the window, but we didn't fall for it. And we're going to see something very, very similar happen with Meg. Although it's going to happen in a different order. First, I'm going to try to take a shot at Feng, who's out of the remove her weaken from before. I teleport out. This doesn't give me enough distance, but it is enough to trick her. Unfortunately, my shot there goes through her, but doesn't explode at her. So it didn't count as a weaken. Luckily, she did basically the same maneuver as Quentin. And here, if I wanted to go for Feng, this game would have been over. Instead, I know she's a bit distant, so I pick up right away. And even though I knew basement was a possibility, I decided to try to bait it, see if she would get a little closer and give me a hit. Instead, I just decided to hook here. Maybe Floods of Rage does something else. She obviously has to spend a little bit of time picking up and takes a weaken for it. Meg is not ready here, but... Ooh, what happened? She missed the pallet save? What exactly happened here? Let's see it from the spectator's point of view.
Well, he has a body nearby too. I don't know if he gets... Yeah, they need a healing perk or something. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh? He
You know what?
it?
Just take it.
He tested it!
Doesn't get it.
Oh my gosh! He gave them the opportunity for a CJ to see if they could pull it off. And I think she hesitated. She didn't expect that.
So yeah, what I believe happened here is that Feng was waiting by the pallet to try to stun me, and then if I tried to break the pallet, she would have vaulted. Instead of breaking the pallet, I would have accidentally picked up Meg from the ground, and then she would have dropped the flashbang, and it would have been a really cool trick that some people call the CJ deck. However, because she had been hit with my brown add-on, she was oblivious, and I think the lack of terror radius actually threw her off as to how close I really was, and this whole thing just didn't work. The commentators, however, seemed to enjoy it quite a bit. So after that, there was a little bit more back and forth. She tried another variation of the CJ tag that I tried to also allow in the locker, but it didn't work out, sadly for them. In the end, I decided to hook Meg in the basement, which gave the other two a chance to heal. The rest of the match just was not super eventful from this point on. They did a pretty good job running me and making sure that they pop whatever last chance they could, but it wasn't all that entertaining from here. This was a wrap, and now I have to play a second match against the exact same team of survivors. For our second killer match, I decided to play the Trickster, a character that almost nobody associates with me. My idea was to keep things a little hard to guess and to play him in a very unique way that you almost never see anyone do. It all revolves around his own personal perk, Starstruck. Starstruck makes all survivors within your terror radius expose while you are carrying someone, and for a short duration afterwards too. But this perk is not very good on Trickster. Trickster is a special attacker that damages with range attacks and doesn't typically get close enough to hit with a basic attack. So Starstruck is actually not very good on him despite being his own perk. But we would be bringing a few other perks to help us close the gap. The first two would be Agitation and Thrilling Tremors. Agitation would make me faster while I'm carrying someone, making a potential flashy save or pallet save a little bit more dangerous, and it also increases my terror radius exactly when I need it to be the biggest. That way, almost everyone in the map will be exposed. I will not know which generators are being worked on, however, so 3-link tremors will let me know which generators are not being worked on so that I can hook closer to that area and ensure that absolutely everyone is affected by Starstruck. Later on in the match, if survivors are playing a little bit more cautious, it will also block gens and maybe buy me a little bit of time. That being said, even though we are now getting closer, we still don't really have any method to make the Trickster any good at landing basic attacks. But that's where the next part of the build comes in. The add-ons. First, we have the Cage Hard Shoes. This allows me to throw a few knives every now and then and lose a little bit less distance. And the real surprise, the iridescent photo card. If I don't miss my knives, each additional knife that I land without missing will give me 1% extra speed. This adds to the Trickster's natural 115 speed, which means that after a few knives, I am moving much faster than any survivor will expect. And just in case I am a little bit too out of range to land an attack, we have the final jewel of the crown. Coup the Grass, a perk that increases the distance of your lunges and allows you to get hits that would otherwise be impossible. Not a very common perk on Trickster, this whole build is based around catching them off guard and also has the added benefit of shutting down a lot of altruistic play. Let's see how it performs in action. Our second match begins, and we didn't really talk about which map we're playing on, but this is Wrecker's Yard. This is the one Azeroth's map that has the shack in the middle, and then a few tiles, a few fillers, and 2 vehicles opposite from each other. We have gotten the best possible vehicles, by the way. We got this bus, which is not very strong, and the fact that Feng ran here was really good for me because this is a guaranteed damage at one point or another. But she makes a huge mistake here. She is zoned against the edge of the map, and when taking this damage, she decides to do the same thing, and here I can just wait, listen to which side she's coming from, and I'm not gonna go for a basic attack because I have my main event ready, which happens every 8 successful knives and has infinite ammo. So here, quick pickup. I'm not really in the middle, but with Thrill and Tremors, I can literally see which generator is not being worked on. And Shack is definitely within my terror radius right now. So my plan right now is to hook real quick and go to Shack and see if I can get Starstruck on someone. Knowing that they get warned about this perk, we expect to see scratch marks here, someone panicking. They didn't really run ahead very early. And I decided, okay, 1% is good enough. You know what? Let's play this. Obviously, he should have dropped this pallet here. Decided not to. Very dangerous game to play. And Quentin goes down. The commentators now understand what my build is about.
Oh, he was exposed by Starstruck. That's so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate.
Oh, and it's Thrilling Tremors blocking the gens and not Corrupt. So this is basically all based on carrying. Very nice.
Oh my god.
We have a pretty seamless transition back to Feng if we tried. Unfortunately, Meg hit us with a nasty head-on. I decided to bait the rescue there to get 3% speed, which is gonna help me. This skill's not gonna be insta-landable, so the moment she gets injured, by the way, the speed goes away. And unfortunately, I missed some knives, but you know what? I decided, let's go crazy here. We have a maybe nice line of sight. This could be at least 1 instance of damage. I used my main event, I would say a little bit too early. If she went into a locker there, that could have been huge. Yeah, if she hadn't used her head-on and she went into a locker, by the time I was on my cooldown, she could have hit me with it. But luckily, we know that she's exhausted and none of that should happen. Here, we're going to do a little mind game that you can only do with short killers and killers that don't make a lot of noise. A survivor doesn't see you, they second-guess themselves, they correct their pathing for a second, and they go down. Little quick reload before I pick up. This is to make sure that I have enough ammo for the next chase and maybe even get a bit of speed. Ooh, corrected my aim there. Unfortunately, I missed knives, so my speed is going back. We're now 1%, and I'm trying to make my mind whether I should injure this girl or just keep the speed and pick up Meg. The thing is, this girl has been hooked before, so I'm now of the firm opinion that I should absolutely injure her at least. Now we have 1%, which is going to go on top of the 18% that agitation gives us for a total of 19%. And look how fast we are. Wow. Flashlight attempt here. I don't know exactly what was the idea. I see if I can bait a hit, but nothing really comes out of it. That's completely fine. Notice that they finish a few generators, so now Coup the Grass is online. I have a big lunge. Am I going to use it? I decided not to do it around the corner. And honestly, that was the right call because Feng had Ted hard. And unfortunately, she tried to use it there, but boom! This is why Coup de Grace is really, really good in this build. Now, I imagine that Quentin is desperately trying to get the unhook, and I pick up this girl first because I know that there's a hook right here and I can still get Feng. I want to give them the chance to at least get back to see if they can play something, so I can maybe wait for Starstruck to be over and then use it on someone else. My idea is to use it as many times as possible. You can see in the cooldown. Now, unfortunately, I missed my second knife there, so I lose that. I'm trying to bait head on. Nothing really happens. Starstruck is on cooldown, but it will be off cooldown soon. In fact, it will be off cooldown right now, which means that if Quentin now messes up, he's going down yet again. And that was the idea behind waiting. Waiting also makes Thrill and Tremors go off cooldown, which keeps blocking gens, so even if they want to be a bit efficient, it would become harder and harder. We throw knives here that we know are very, very safe. I tried to do a similar mind game as before. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because he just used life, I think, to get away. And lastly, we miss a knife there, which made us lose that. But now we're back on the Coup de Grace train, and boom. This is just so unexpected. The spectators really, really love this moment.
Okay,
Ooh, and Starstruck coming in crazy.
that was disgusting.
So Meg goes on the hook, and we are doing great. It seems like their momentum is never really getting off. Other than a few good plays here and there, they are constantly trying to be in recovery mode. They're losing health states far too quickly. I find these two girls here, and obviously going for Feng would be the better idea if we wanted to kill her, but I decide, you know what? We have main event coming up. Let's try to use her on Laurie. She's not in such a good spot. And we're going to see that she actually did a really formidable job trying to dodge this. But just look at how long this main event lasts. This was actually so close to downing her. I'm not too sure, but I think the combo feature might have played a part in how long that was. And I tried to do a little 360 there before doing the final blade. I pick up against a corner to hopefully reduce the chances of anyone going for a flashlight or any other kind of save. And it seems I am successful. I also apply Starstruck to both of these girls again. And I try to bait something, ultimately nothing. Feng is now the clear choice. She's hit with Starstruck and she's dead on hook. She's also going to a part of the map that we've been to before and doesn't seem particularly troublesome. Here's the extra 1% speed that might make a difference. And yeah, this is just... honestly, pre-dropping here might have been the play. I'm not too sure how safe it is to play that when the killer has cool and it's constantly messing with you. Keep in mind, the Trickster's terror radius is also a little bit deceiving at times. We're going to be looking into hitting a knife or two to become a little faster. I think I was happy here with one. Ooh, I was a little greedy after all. Yeah, there we see the light again on Quentin that he used earlier. And honestly, if the survivors had a moment to really take control back of this match, it was very, very soon. This might seem a little stupid, but what this Quentin did, he set up a blast mine here. Forgive me, a wiretap here to see my aura, but it was a little bit too transparent. He did it right in front of me, so I just saw him. And I decided to kick it and get rid of that. Otherwise, he could maybe, or maybe a teammate later, could use that aura to make my mind games in this TL really difficult. I really tried hard to make this work, but honestly, Quentin was really patient there. And here, I think I'm getting a little bit too carried away. I am trying to go for things that I know are not gonna work. And in the end, what I need to do is just down this Quentin and stop doing stupid things. But it is at this moment where they pulled off something really funny.
I can't believe how sneaky.
Got him.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I would have put money that she was in there.
That was just a great save from them. I honestly, had I paid attention to all the clues, I could have maybe seen it coming. But honestly, you know what? We'll take it. At the end of the day, even though it was a save, I still picked up, which still applied Starstruck, and I used my final coup stack to get another instant down. Quentin here makes a mistake. I don't know what he was thinking, but I do have agitation, and after he runs into a corner slightly, he goes down. And this is just really, really bad. Now, Laurie's not affected by Starstruck anymore. The timer for it is already gone. But it's down to them too, and they have to create some kind of miracle. There is a little trick that you can do with a locker, and I think that's maybe what they were looking into, but yeah. I don't know if you saw what happened there, but Laurie tried to get into the locker and then come out at the perfect time. And then when I accidentally picked up Quentin, she would have dropped the firecracker, but she had the perk Deception. And if you have the perk Deception, you cannot quickly get into a locker unless it is on cooldown. And it led to this really funny situation where we had a bit of a standoff. After this moment, it was mostly just a little bit of cleanup and ending the match. Overall, I didn't really do anything that impressive, but sometimes the best builds for a tournament like this are not the ones that make you show off the most, it's the ones that shut down the opponents the most. But either way, GG's to my opponents. I think going against this build is generally not that fun. For my final match in this tournament, I was really conflicted and a little bit nervous. I had to pick something good enough to deal with this insane team of survivors. I had seen their performance in previous rounds, and I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified. These guys were insane. They were constantly pulling off stunts to shut down anything that the killer tried to do. Their altruistic plays were super risky, but somehow always successful, and I knew that any normal killer build would probably fail against them. I had to go for something so unique, so out of left field, that even survivors like this would be caught off guard. And dare I say, I think I succeeded. I picked a build so stupid, so silly, that I think it's my favorite in this whole video. And if you're gonna try any of them, let it be this one. It was on the Houndmaster, which again was played on the Call Tower 2. This is a killer that is really buggy and really inconsistent, but I decided to play her because she has some really nasty tricks up her sleeve. And the main one that we would exploit is play with your food. This is the one perk from Myers that gives you a stack of haste each time you abandon chase with your obsession. And on an average killer, this perk is simply not worth running. You have to find your obsession and then leave them, which is already a huge waste of time. And then you get a stack that makes you faster, but the moment you hit anyone, you immediately lose it and you're back to the beginning. But here's the thing that many people don't know. The Houndmaster has a special way of using this perk. If you chase your obsession and catch them with your dog, you can actually just sit in front of them for a few seconds, and eventually the game will end the chase. The game believes that you're not in chase because there's no one running in front of you, allowing you to get another stack of play with your food and actually farm them as you go. And if we were to pair this with an insta-down perk, we can make each stack really count. My choice of insta-down was Hubris. It is a perk from the night that allows you to insta-down any survivor that stuns you. That includes pallet stuns, head-on, and even flashlight rescues, something that this team would certainly be looking to try. And now that we know that we're trying to get stunned, we can go even further and bring the perk Nemesis. This perk also triggers when you get stunned and when you get flashlighted, and it makes anyone that does that become the next obsession, making it easier to get play with your food stacks. It also makes them oblivious and shows you their aura for a very long time, which we can make even longer if we pair it with Lethal Pursuer, which will also show me the auras of everyone at the start. And at that point, it becomes a really good idea to run the iridescent add-on Wheel Handle. This makes us stealthy anytime we send the dog out, and we could use it at the start of the game to sneak up on survivors, maybe even get a grab out of a gen. That is the plan. And to tie this build together, we would also be using her other iridescent add-on, the Torn Nubble. This one shows you the aura of survivors while you're controlling your dog, and because it lingers for so long thanks to Lethal Pursuer, we can use him to set up some crazy reads and perform mind games that would otherwise be impossible. With this, we had everything we needed. Now it came down to the execution. So at the start of the match, my mission is to send my dog out somewhere far away from where survivor spawns. We're going to see them with Lethal Pursuer, and then try to approach them undetected, see if I can get a grab or a free hit. Unfortunately for me, it seems like the space that I have to cover is so open wide that I was fairly sure that no matter what, at least one of the survivors would see me. I decided to go for this one and try to use this little line of sight blocker. I did not in the end get a massive surprise on them, but it was good enough to get a free hit and zone the Zarina into a not so favorable loop. I send my dog out, she dodges it, but in doing so loses too much distance, and she would have gone down no matter where she went from there. A really quick down, getting a hook now and establishing a really good tempo would be priority, but Bill is gonna come here to give me a hit. We will explain why he's doing this later, but let's remember that. The most important thing right now is to show everyone that we don't care about winning. We just wanna make everyone happy.
Oh, we petted the doggy! Okay, see, now you're cheating. You got a dog.
And yeah, judging from the reaction, I think it worked. There, I sent out my dog, and unfortunately the dog just bugged out and didn't work. Luckily, the second time I sent him, it did work. This is one of those bugs that I was telling you about earlier. We just got the play with your foot second stack, as I explained earlier, and the build is working out. I say no, no, no to the Zhui. She vaults a window, and that results in a bite. If the dog cannot grab you during animation, you just take damage, and I get to pick my bill, and I am now happy to go to a hook. It is possible I should have gone elsewhere, but looking at the hooks in the distance, knowing how they could take hits, I think this was my safest choice. I'm going to spend a few seconds figuring out what exactly is going on. Tapp and Zarina are next to each other. No one's on gens. They just got to heal. Am I going to be able to find Yui? Well, my dog gives me heartbeat, so I figured that she's by Shaq. And Shaq with the skiller can be a little dangerous. I try to use my undetectable to see if she'll walk by the door so I can ambush her, but she actually played this very cautious. I do a little mind game here that is a little bit difficult to understand from my point of view. It ultimately gives me the hit, and I'm going to show you what it looks like from the survivor's point of view.
Let's see what Miss Yui's up to. This is a little scary, I think. Oh my god. Oh, the big mind game. The mind game. The mind game. Does she make that? Yeah, she does.
Ultimately, mind games like that do not work if the survivor has perfect pathing and perfect positioning at their check spots, but I'm glad I tried it because it really allowed me to bring back the momentum. I'm going to try to hook in the middle, see if I can spot Bill, maybe get more play with your food, or create a new obsession. I am now searching for Bill, trying to remember where I put him, but I'm also looking for opportunities to catch someone else off guard with my lack of terror radius. Someone definitely sneaked by, but I couldn't quite find them right away. Scratch marks here were a little bit deceiving. And this is going to be a chase that ultimately I have to leave. Excellent play from the Tapp here, by the way. I have absolutely no idea how they did this. I tried a similar mind game, but this Tapp is just on point. I am going to give up on them really, really quickly. It would have been a good idea to get stunned here, by the way. Instead, I assume he would drop the pallet, and he understands the counterplay. The counterplay when the dog master has her power held is to just not drop it. And then if you wait and she sends the dog out, you can just stun the dog, and it's super, super easy. You're gonna notice that I keep sending my dog out to try to catch them off guard. It didn't really quite work yet, but we find Yui, who would be on her second hook, and she's in a TL, which is a little dangerous to play. It doesn't seem like she makes the best decision here and ultimately takes a hit, and she doesn't make enough distance to make it to Shaq and has to play the style, which against this killer is quite dangerous. Here, I'm gonna put her between a rock and a bitey place, and ultimately, she was fearing the dog, and I just took the hit. Bill here wants to get the flashy save, and I say, yes, take it. All yours, my friend. This is a trap, however. I get a play with your foot stack right as he stuns me, and because this is a flashlight rescue, it is a stun, and it gives me hubris, and now he's insta-downable, and I send my dog out, and...
Bang!
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. That's going to be a hit, 100%. And exposed as well. It was all bait. It was all bait, chat. Extra chump for you after.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a second play with your foot stack before I could get it because Chase never started. Zarina here is going to give me a hit, and I'm not too sure why. It's possible she might have tried to prevent me from getting this hook, but I was comfortably gonna make it anyway. She does have some perks that activate when injured, so maybe she was looking to do that. Either way, she has perfectly good means to heal herself. I am once again trying to send my dog out to catch him off guard, approach from some unusual angle, although I'm not too sure this was a good idea. Ultimately, they just got the gen done, and my stealth, I'm not too sure did much here. Once again, we are chasing Tapp. I'm gonna send my dog, and we miss. Had I caught Zarina there, it wouldn't have been as good as it looked, because Tapp could have easily helped her, but it would have made the next hit a little bit easier for sure. Here, we're gonna send out Tapp to make sure that he's busy, and I honestly tried to do a simple mind game on Zarina that just didn't work. Zarina here played really, really well, so I had to be happy just hitting him, and what I'm gonna do for the next couple seconds is just pretend to go elsewhere, search command, and then go back to Tapp, catch him off guard. And here, I'm about to make a mistake, and then I'm gonna follow it up with a really tricky mind game. Let's see it from their point of view.
He knows. Okay, he knows. Very nice. Big mind games on the pallet. Yeah. If you don't know, just drop it. Ah! Don't drop it! I don't know. Where did she go?
Going back here, we obviously missed an attack that could have been a down. I think the reason why is because I underestimated the speed at which he would accelerate. He did have one perk to be faster. And as you can see, using the undetectable, I actually went all the other way around, which is such a stupid, silly tactic, but it does work. This is something that you can sometimes pull off even against really, really good survivors because it's just so unexpected. My dog will come back to me shortly and I will no longer be undetectable. This is the first hook on David Tapp. Let's remember that. We're just giving him some nutters. And in these in-between moments, I sometimes struggle a little bit to find people. I'm trying to minimize the risk of boons. This is a speed boon, by the way, a haste boon. It was making Tapp 3% faster. Luckily, my own speed was more than enough to make up for it. And I honestly somewhat struggled to find a natural next chase. I did not want to lose my momentum. That gen over there did have someone that I didn't know about. This is where I should have gone. But struggling to find anyone, I decided to go back with my undetectable. And it was just a little bit too late. Survivors just heal on the hook. They were very, very bold. And these two players, by the way, they have perks to make each other faster as well. They have teamwork, power of 2. And they played this excellent. It's so difficult to play with a teammate and not be super, super clumsy. But they played pretty damn excellent. They kidnapped my dog here for some reason. This was a little funny. And ultimately, my dog got stuck there, didn't vault. They played this super well. They played this super well. I knew that if I went for Tapp right here, I could get a hit, sure, but this could be really, really bad. I did not want to chase them. My goal is the Zarina, ideally. Luckily, I managed to get hit on both. This is something that is super, super easy to do with this killer. And here we're going to do a 50-50. From my point of view, it's a little bit difficult to know what's going on, but basically, I was trying to get her on the right side. Let's see it from their point of view.
Zarina just gonna take a hit. They're staying close together, but not close enough. They did lose that bond.
Oh, dang.
So the idea there, obviously, is to force them into dropping the pallet from one side or be on the wrong side of it when I attack them. Unfortunately, they became my obsession, which was not ideal because I cannot really farm anything from them. But that is completely fine. We can always create a new one. I was a little bit tempted to go for Tapp, not knowing exactly where the other guys were. So I sent my dog out to see if we could scout something. And I'm now riding the trail of my dog to go faster. I do see someone else. And now we learn that a gen in distance has been done. I'm undetectable. I'm hoping to catch them off guard. But these survivors, they're just not stupid at all. This is a very similar loop to what we saw earlier, close to main. And it is something that you can play. But honestly, this Tapp is obviously on a different league. He is very, very patient and knows exactly what to do. We did manage, however, to get him to stun us. And I can now stack play with your foods. This was a bit unfortunate on my part. He did not panic on that pallet. He could have easily vaulted. And with the extra speed, I probably would have gotten him. And there I got him. But now we have given Bill a second protection hit, which means that if I give him one more, he will have basically free health state. This is bad. We don't want that Bill to get another one if possible. Here, I decide to break this wall and send my dog out. Take a little shortcut if possible. Zarina comes here to take a hit, and another bug occurs that I honestly can't even begin to explain. That was really weird. It would have been really, really nice to maybe ignore her and run past her, but it was weird. I sent out my dog to be stealthy, trying to catch these two boys off guard. It seems to work to a degree, but I'm gonna need my dog back. In the meantime, we can kick this blue gen, not give them any more speed. I want to go for Bill. I don't want him to get 3 stacks. I know where everybody is. I know that with my massive 2 stacks of bloated food, I'm going to down him. And here, I also know that they're going to go for the rescue. And I also know that Tapp is there. But, you know, I decided, you know what? Let's hope they don't get it. These people, however, are extremely clean, as I told you earlier, and they do get it. Even though we neutralized one of the survivors, the other one had background player, just made it there just in time, got it really, really easy. We do want to kill Bill before he has a chance to take another protection hit, or this could get hard. Luckily, we managed to kill him right before they can do anything. Zarina Kassir is healthy. She has reactive healing and a bunch of other healing aid items and perks to get herself healthy. And Yuri here tries to do a little flashbang that ultimately helps me because it does turn her into the obsession, gives me auto read on her. I would have probably lost her was it not for Nemesis showing me her aura for a total of 10 seconds, which is huge. And what I'm going to do here is I'm probably going to try to lose chase or use the trick. Unfortunately, my dog gets stuck on nothing and he turns into a puff of smoke. That, unfortunately, is just the Houndmaster the way she is right now. And I would have maybe like to hit him and get another stack, but I think stacks are not as important as I did think he was coming into me. I do not think stacks are as important. From what I learned in the Unknown game, it's definitely better to just get the downs and shut them down. And I decided to neutralize Tapp with a dog and just go. Now here, I definitely miscalculated though. I miscalculated. It is so obvious at this point that I'm not gonna make it to this hook. Even if I had, he would have sabotaged, and he did a really fun little what's it called, moonwalk. But don't worry, we're gonna hit him. We're gonna hit him with something else. We are once again in the style that is really dangerous if you don't drop the pallet early. I send the dog and a little flick and gets him. And I'm now gonna hit him with a moonwalk of my own.
Why I love Yui. And Tapp is gonna go down. Oh?
Yeah, I think. Oh, dang.
That's a new one. Oh my god.
So Tapp is now on his second hook. These two girls have a little bit of time to recuperate. Thankfully, Bill is out of the picture. We're at 1 gen left somehow, by the way, through all of this. Even though they've been very altruistic, they have found time to do 4 gens, and they will try to do the last one. We're trying to use stealth to find them, but ultimately, I honestly have really struggled with this part of my build. They get the end hook, and I don't want to be the guy that just goes back, but honestly, there's just not that many survivors left, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. We find Yui again on top of main building, and unfortunately, stealth just doesn't work out for Tapp here. This is a bit unfortunate. This is the one time they hit really well. Now, I wanted to get my dog to come to me and do a little pet, but unfortunately, it just didn't work. It just did not work. I've tried to practice this a million times, and I know how to do it. I just didn't want to kill him because it felt a little mean. But I ended up just deciding to leave him on the ground. I don't know what was happening. Let's go for Yui, go for somebody else. We send the dog out to ride the trail and maybe get a little faster. And that was very successful in giving us a free hit. This Yui is in a bit of a bad spot. We've opened this, so we see perfectly where she is. And this next sequence is going to be a little bit interesting. We're going to see that even though they pick up Tapp, they're all going to come and get involved. Here is the auto-reading add-on, helping us quite a bit. And I get a play with your food stack for my trouble. And I'm going to send my dog one direction and then go the other. And unfortunately, I miss. But I am fast enough, and she has gone out of her way enough that this makes enough difference. That play with your food, probably quite important there. I'm not sure I would have made it without it. So here we're going to pick up. And we're going to see that the other two teammates are going to be quite involved. They're already healthy. And I'm going to make a decision here that's going to be a little bit ill-advised, but it's going to work out. They go for the immediate save, as you can see. And I go for Tapp once again. I get him, but I want to do something funny. So instead of hitting him, obviously I can't hit her. She's not available. I just go for the pallet break. I want to make sure I chase her to get another play to food if possible, maybe get a grab if possible. But yeah, she's gonna eventually go down here without giving me a play to food stack again. And we actually got a pretty good deal here. He avoided the dog but ended up taking a hit. Tried to do some kind of FOB tech there or spin me, which didn't work. And here's the crazy part. He gets stuck. He gets caught. I should be going for him right now. But unfortunately, I decided to try my luck at Mind Game in Zarina, which just did not work at all. She was just perfect there.
Okay. Looks like we're going to get rid of Snug in time, which is great. Zarina's at this loop. Playing that so well, by the way.
But this allowed me to distract Tapp and do this.
Is, Oh, shut up.
Dang.
Shut up. That was so good. Is there a pallet there? Dang.
Nothing.
With Tapp down and absolutely out because this was her third hook, it was now down to the two girls, Yui and Zarina. And honestly, even though this game was now being pretty much wrapped up, it was still some interesting chases. Keep in mind, these two survivors have very interesting perks that make them really speedy. Once again, I honestly think their momentum and how fast they move threw me off because I absolutely whiffed an attack there. Here, I'm going to try to do a little dog slide that ends up getting one of them, and I decided to get my ability food and go for the other one. but it whiffs. Keep in mind, if they had normal movement speed, it could have worked. Another silly moment near a logger, and I catch Zarina, and we get her. And just like that, we wrap up this match. Honestly, these survivors did incredible. They got a really, really good score, but I was also very, very happy with mine. Unfortunately, this wasn't enough for me to proceed to the next round. My survivors had to play against their killer, and when all the scores were put together, our team lost by 0.1. And, well, you can't really be mad about that. That is a good result for both teams. And ultimately, this was a tournament for fun where we raised money for really good causes across 3 different charities. The organizers, the caster, the staff, the participants, everyone was lovely. That is why I genuinely think this might have been one of the best tournaments in DBD history. I hope that you'll check out Mish and see some of the content from her POV as well. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more content of this type, let me know, because it helps to hear what you guys want to watch. See ya.